Good day, one and all. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Donato, and yes, here I am in Middle Earth, and we'll be having a very special guest coming on who's been on once or twice and has been requested to come back. So, as I said, we'll probably be doing a series with this amazing guy. At the age of, just a bit of a background about Neil. At the age of 9, he started running, and it was one of those happy accidents, which I'm sure we'll go into once he comes on stage, as we say. He's competed in the Calgary Olympics, yes, where he had a bit of a hiatus from running and took up cross-country skiing. I mean, who'd want to do that? But he competed in the Calgary Olympics biathlon for Great Britain. He's going for a world record attempt for the 1500 meters at 4 minutes and 14 seconds. He's also a professional coach and coaching some up-and-coming Olympic athletes. It's none other than, because in terms of an intro, before I actually introduce him, what we're going to talk about is long runs, easy runs. Last time we talked about things. So we always want to know, if you're going to do something, you got to do it right, yeah? In the words of Wham.
If you're gonna do it right. Do it with me. If you're gonna do it right. Do it with me.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes, if you're going to do it right. Welcome back, Neil. Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm good. Oh, no. You keep pressurising me. I'm going for the British record. If the world record's achievable, I will go for it, but it's hard. The British record is hard enough. So you're making me more pressure now.
Was I building you up too much? Hey, Neil.
Yeah.
Apologies. I mean, it's great to see you back. Thank you so much for giving your time, because I know you're a very, very busy man. Running a company, being a professional coach, having some top athletes, Olympics and all that type of stuff. And yes, everybody wants you back, Neil, because they like your stuff. Last time we talked about the speed sessions, didn't we? And how to, the science behind all that, and how to calculate if you're going on undulating runs, how to calculate the effort and speed and all that. Because obviously you are a professional coach. You know what you're talking about, yeah, Neil? So how has it been the past few weeks since we last spoke? What's been happening? I noticed your glasses are not very Harry Potter-esque this time. You've fixed your glasses, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do love our glasses, don't we?
I didn't realise until I played it back. I thought, oh my goodness, look at you. I was like this.
But do you know what, Neil? It doesn't matter what we look like. It's about the information that we share, and everybody loved the info that you're sharing.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. So how has it been? How, we're nearly coming out of lockdown. How's the training been? How's life, as they say?
Well, I think last time we spoke, I was literally just sort of like a week or two into a bit of experiencing a lot of like muscle aches, or no, more tendon and structural aches and that.
Yeah.
So I had about a 4 week of really challenging training where I've just cut right back over this period and eased off, and it seems to have all gone away now. So that's fine. But no, recently I had my vaccine on Monday.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
was that your first one or your second one?
No, that's my first one, because 55. So I'm in the last phase of the 55 upwards. So so I had that done. I had the Oxford one. I didn't really care which one I had, really. I think I had one.
Just give us a vaccine.
Yeah.
I did see on the news this morning that they're saying everybody over 50 should get their bookings in.
It's fine. A lot.
So and obviously we don't want this to be a vaccine debate or whatever, but I'm sure there's people who would leave comments on their views of what's going on around the world, because I do see pictures of people, because obviously the joys of the internet and social media, and there'll be people watching this who may be in certain countries where there are no restrictions, and they're posting their happy clappy photos on Instagram saying what a great time I am traveling around, and here we are being told to stay home. So it's a bit of a in this together type thing. So yes, we'll get there, won't we?
I think so. Yeah. It's all looking good. First races next week. Got a race booked on the 5th of April. Me and my boy, and a few boys I coach as well. That's a PB 5K in Ardingly, which is near. Oh goodness, not.
It's in Surrey, yeah.
No, it's just south. It's in Haywards Heath.
Oh,
Yes,
right, Haywards
which
Heath.
is
That's
on the way. It's between where I live and Brighton, basically, straight south.
Yeah. I was
Jake
going to say.
Whiteman's racing as well, so
Oh,
one of our
top athletes.
Olympian. Yeah. But it's a wave start, you see. So
So it's a time trial.
Well, it's a proper race, and I think by the EA rules now, I think it'd be the 6 or 12-man waves. I'm not sure because they haven't sent the start list out yet. Yeah, so you'd be in a wave when you start, and it'd be within your times. Yeah. And that.
So hopefully the times that they give you, because I've done some of these, and I think some people, maybe me, we don't give the right times, or our fitness isn't quite right. So the group of 6 that you're with either disappear for one reason, either they disappear off too quick, or you disappear away from them into the horizon because they've not been putting in the right times. But
I've been quite
it's good just to be out
really,
because
on that one.
Similar to yourself, I was going to say my triathlon got pinged, as you may have seen on some other videos. So I only had 2 events coming up to June, and both of them are gone. So I did change my training, where my training now is just a mild 2 bike rides a week and 2 runs a week, which is just keeping me ticking over. But
That's
similar
good,
to yourself, I literally, I won't tell people, I have entered a race which is at the end of April. And they've checked the England Athletics. I've checked with the organisers because obviously with events getting cancelled, some of them are still going ahead. I think it's more events like yours and the one that I've entered where it's just a few hundred people. But it did stipulate, depending on what the rules are on the day, it will either be in groups of 6 or in 2s. Every 20 seconds someone goes, or 10 seconds. So you're in groups of 2, and I guess if you're with a buddy, I'm presuming your athletes, you know who's of what times, and you want them to race against each other. Is that what you do?
No. They're just going to run conservatively.
Run flat out. Oh, conservative. Okay.
No. I think they'll run hard, but it's not good to put them in the wave too quick because, for example, if you got a wave, let's say you're in a wave of say 14:20, most of them will start off at 14:10 pace and burn out. So because they're not race experienced. So
that's 14 minutes and 20 seconds. Not between 14 and 20 people.
No. So could I think in this early stage of racing, because we're all, even the most experienced racers, we're not experienced. Sorry, we've not got the races under our belt these last 12 months. So I'd much rather start my potential people who are doing, let's say, 14:10 time, start them at 14:30 waves. So, they can ease into it and you don't over pressurize them on the first race because like a 5K race, it's a very difficult race, 5K. It's a very painful race from, the 4K is the hurt locker. So it takes a while for most top runners to get in that routine of managing the hurt, the pain, and the pace. So I've brought them all to a slower start time now, and just so that there's no pressure. It's a first race. Hopefully there'll be many more this year, the way things are looking. And any masters in the south on this or watching this, I'm Vets AC. So Vets AC, I've got some races coming up. The 11th of April, and I think the week after as well. But just go on Vets AC website or the BMAF website and do regional vets races. And I think you'll start to see a lot more races coming on board now. Yeah.
Right. And that's specifically for veteran runners, that's 35 and over?
Yeah. I'm going to be entering more vets specific races now because I'm kind of sick of just not having a chance against the youngsters and that. And it's a bit demoralising. Maybe a bit of ego lost there as well. I don't know. But,
you just want to beat everyone, Neil, don't you? Come on now.
I'd much rather race. Well, do you know what? I want to get back into racing. And what I mean by that is when you race against the younger age group, you, you always end up going flat out, and
Yeah.
there's never really a tactical race
There's
where
no
you're running
myth-
like
no.
yeah. So if you're on the start line with 30 other 55-year-olds and you're looking around, you know who's there, you think, right, okay, let's have a real race here, easy for the first 2K, push it mid-K, third K, and see who hangs on. Then, play some games for a sprint finish. You don't do that when you're racing younger kids because they just leave you and you're just hanging out to keep up with them. So, I'm kind of going to, take a different approach this year and hopefully get some old-fashioned, old-school races in against my age group,
Yeah. What time are you going for in your 5K, Neil? Go on. Do you want to dazzle us?
Yeah, no, I put down 16:59. I'll be happy if I get that, because I've not done anything, because my tempo runs I've had one fast tempo run 2 weeks ago with my son. We did 17:08.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
my tempo runs have all been 17:50, 18:20. So I've not been really within a minute of that time on the consistent basis. So I've just put 16:59, and I'm just going to see, if I get under 16:50, I'll be over the moon for the first one in the bag. Yeah.
Can you pace me along then, Neil, on the next one? I think there's a lot of people watching this, whatever age they are, would dream of going under 17 minutes for a 5K. Which leads me neatly. Which dreams me. You've done a sub 17 before, yeah?
Oh no, I'm always about 16:30, 16:26-ish normally when I'm on.
Yeah, I said sub 17.
Yeah,
sub 17.
Yeah.
So if you've done a 16, that's under 17, yeah? Or am I mishearing? Yeah.
No.
So it'd be great to. I think mine is about 18, 17 at the minute now. But like yourself. It's interesting to talk about the hurt locker and all that type of stuff, and we'll go through because we'll try and break this out in terms of what we're talking. Because what you've said, the 5K, that leads me neatly on where we were talking last time about speed sessions and so on. But would you categorise a 5K and above? Obviously, we all know marathon, half marathon is endurance, 10Ks, and would you classify a 5K as an endurance-y type event?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
5K is still endurance, It's more of a speed endurance, but then some may argue that a marathon is also speed endurance because the top guys are doing, 254, 258, 3-minute Ks for for 42 of them. So, so yes, but the 5K is really the race that dips in and out of aerobic, anaerobic. So it's the kind of one race where you do go aerobic, and most likely get very high lactate builds up around the 3K. Hence why the 4K is always a painful hurt locker one, and then the 5K is just down to muscle memory and the desire to keep the pace going.
Can you do it? Yeah. So what we're going to talk about, because the theme for this is about building running endurance and the science behind it and what's good about it. And we'll talk about the aspects of lactate, non-lactate, and all that type of stuff. So we've got all day, sort of, but we'll go through the different points. But I just wanted to add, in terms of strategy as well, my last 10K, which was my fastest, to date. I mean, that was December. Good God, it seems an eternity away as we approach April and Easter now. And I do recall going at a pace I could have maybe squeezed 3 or 4 seconds per kilometre quicker. But what I found is that with a mile to go, not 1 kilometre, but a whole mile, I think I ran my last mile in almost a mile PB. It was 5 minutes 30. I think I was 1 second off my mile PB, which was at the end of, because obviously 10K is 6 miles. So I'd already ran 5 miles, and my 6th mile, which I normally, as I say, I've done 1 mile TTs, I was just 1 second. So, but like you were saying, I'm with a whole mixed field. So at the time, I think I was running with a mother and daughter. The daughter had flown off, and the mother was sort of pacing me. I didn't realise she was one of the top masters in Britain. But obviously a lady, I think she's of our age as well. She might be in the V55 category. So she's up there, and she has got world records at, I think, 1,500 and 3,000 meters. But like I say, a daughter, obviously it's in the genes, just like your son, went off like. So I'm, running like the clappers. So I'd left her mum for dust in the last mile, but I couldn't get anywhere near the daughter because she was like gone. But then the daughter was probably maybe 20, if that, 21. And she had alpha flies on, so I'm sure those had a bit of an impact. But I totally agree with you, Neil. Sometimes there's no tactic; it's just gung ho, really, isn't it?
Well, on a 5K, I'll always go into a 5K race, and anyone I'm training or helping, from the training build up to that 5K race, or if it's a 5K park run, as long as it's a flat asphalt or path park run, because you can't really get consistent times over cross-country park runs, but as long as it's an accurately measured 5K, and it don't matter what kind of 5K it is, a 5K is 5K, but if it's flat and accurate and on tarmac, and you build up to that 5K, mathematically you should be able to set your times for that race.
Yeah.
You should, and it's not rocket science.
Based on your training.
Yeah. I simply do it as basically one of my, if it's let's call it a race breakthrough session, or a race confirmation session. And it's a simple 5 times a K with 2.5 minutes recovery. Okay.
5 times 1K.
With 2.5 minutes recovery. Yep. Which is just under, I'm a big believer in not too short recoveries, and ideally be 1-to-1. So if you're doing a K in 3:30, you should have 3.5 minutes. But for a breakthrough session to test what, and this you need to be doing a week before the race event, not near it really, especially at our age, because you need that extra time to recover.
So if your race is on Sunday, the latest you should do it is the Sunday before.
Or the Saturday,
the Saturday.
Give it, you could probably get away with, if you're well trained, they have good mileage in your legs, you could probably do it, Monday, latest Tuesday, if you've got good mileage and, and you're strong. But however, try a week, and this is 5 times a K. And if you want to be doing, let's say, if your goal pace is 17:30, then if you can do 5 times a K in 3:30 with 2.5 minutes recovery, you will do, mathematically, you should be doing that time.
Okay.
Wow. However, if you're achieving the last 5K at race pace at 3:30 and you're absolutely hanging out, you might need to adjust your start K to a few seconds slower and build up into it. But if you can be not cut hard, but not flat out, achieving your race pace 5 times a K with 2.5 minutes recovery, then you mathematically you should be running 17:30 in that race the following week.
Yeah. So basically, whatever your 1K time on 5K, 5 times 1K, is your actual 5K race time.
It should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating because a lot of people, and what we're going to talk about, sometimes things are very counterintuitive, and there's a lot of stuff on there. I don't know how much you use Instagram, but we see a lot of people where they say things. It's sort of like, to run fast, you got to run fast. Yeah, which
absolutely.
Sounds logical. But as we know, with certain distances and whatever, if all you do is run fast, you won't get fast. But when you say, if I'm having a rest, my brain's going, that was hard work doing 3:30. But I guess you said, because if you're left hanging out on the last one, but if you're left hanging out on all of them, then you really are pushing too hard and should slip it back a bit.
I mean, for example, if your PB is 20 minutes, and you want to do a PB, just do 5 times a K in 4 minutes per K with 2:30 recovery, and if you feel fine, then you're on for a PB. So just reverse it and get get the time that you want to do, what you think you can do, then divide that by 5. Yeah. Stick it onto the track, do the 5 reps, and if you can achieve that pace, however, I mean, like it says a few minutes earlier, you have to run fast to race fast, but to connect them all together, to do that 330 times 5 in a 5K race, the key training for you to achieve that is your long, slow, and your longer tempo runs, which is the strength work that allows you to keep that pace going for 5K.
Brilliant.
I mean,
brilliant.
A lot of people, I hear things like, I'm just doing 15 times 200 to improve my sprint finish on a 5 or 10K. And I say to them, okay, what's your, and I get it's a lot, and I need the people running from 35 10Ks, 32s, 40 minute 10Ks, 45, 50 minute 10Ks. It don't matter what, but it's across the board. And I say to them, okay, so how fast can you run a 200 meters flat out? And they say 32 seconds, for example. And they want to run a 42 minute 10K. So my response to that is, you don't need 200s to get faster. Because you are never going to do a 32 second, which is your natural base speed, in of a 10K. So it's not speed you're lacking, it's speed endurance that you're lacking.
Endurance, which is what you've beautifully segued into that, and you've touched on 2 things. And I know that everybody loves you so much. I think we'll leave one of them for another recording, which is about the long tempo sessions, because this one's all about the long, slow, easy runs, and we're going to we'll delve into, as you quite rightly said, it's the speed endurance, which, as you said, there's 2 key factors, which I think a lot of and I do recall a professional coach telling me, we're all busy people when we have jobs or whatever, and whatever we do with our lives. Pre-COVID, it was all very busy. Now we might have a bit more time, but and we can schedule things a bit differently. But I always said, my long run, there was no sacrifice in that. That was there, and the easy runs. But I asked him, of all these types of tempos, speed sessions, 200 meter, 1,000 meter, which one should I be focusing on? And he said exactly what you said, was the tempo, long tempo. You bang for your bucks. Intervals, I think, was another one, but again, at quite a high at tempo pace. Intervals at tempo, which I used to get on the treadmill and bang out whatever 3:30 pace for, say, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, and then recover for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then hit it again. And depending on where I was in the plan, I would do longer ones. So I'd start. I didn't go straight into 15 minutes, by the way, Neil. Before you faint, it would start at 5 minutes, and then over the weeks would progress up to 5, 7, 10, 15, and then maybe 20. But that was just for me. But what we're going to talk about now is the slow runs, which sometimes people you don't get much publicity about this. It's a bit like running shoe reviews. They don't sort of review the shoes that you need for long, slow runs. They review ones where you need all the fast, speedy sessions. And I always keep referring to my wonderful Bible here, which is the 80-20. 80% of our time, as I hold it there, 80% of our time, minimum, is spent in the easy. You talk about the hurt locker, not in the hurt locker, because I think if we're in the hurt locker too much, what happens? Boom, we get injured. So long, slow runs. What's the science behind it, Neil? I hear words like mitochondria and MAF, maximum aerobic, whatever frequency is it? And Lou said threshold, but that's not with an F, is it? And there's all sorts of science out there. But what's the science of running slowly, and how slow? Because the 2 things. So what's the science? And then we'll talk about, so what's really slow? So what's the science? Mitochondria, what's all that about?
Okay, well, I mean, there's a lot of science in every sport you do, I tend to read it, study it, and then put it into practice on myself, and it does work. I mean, there's a lot of investment goes into research and things, but like I said last time, most of the research that we read is done on elite athletes at
Yes.
at peak age, you know.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
so
Not
I
us
spent
in our mid-50s.
no. So I spent a lot of my last 5 years of trying to convert that to how I used to feel and how my body feels now, and also by speaking and working with a lot of other masters runners from 25-minute PBs, 5K down to same as me, you know, and it tends to be the norm, you know, about, you know, the failings we make on following science because it's not done at our age. So you could be a little bit kind of aware of these surveys and tests and things were carried out on younger elite athletes. But mitochondria, this has been part of my
How's it
training.
pronounced? I keep mispronouncing it. Mitochondria.
Well, depends if you're from Yorkshire or down south, but it's mitochondria, M-I-T-O, mitochondria.
It is MIT. It is MIT. Yeah.
But
okay. As long as I get the first bit right, mito.
Mito.
Yeah.
But I won't embarrass myself and try and spell it fully through because it'll probably be wrong. But no,
I was going to say we both speak sort of posh English, a bit like this guy, I think.
Yeah, baby, yeah.
But anyway, enough of Austin Powers.
Well, basically, you know, mitochondria is to keep it very layman's terms, everything else is transportation of energy. Yep. Yeah. And the more mitochondria you can develop, obviously, the more efficient you're going to be at transport energy. Yeah. And the science does say, and that the heart rate or the pace or distance that you develop this optimally is between, and there's a few different reports on the exact science on what window, but it's between 60 to 90 minutes or 60 to 2 hours. You know, there's different writings and studies on both of them. However, the main message is, on your long run, from 60 minutes onwards, if you can reach 90 minutes or an hour 45, it's that extra 30, 45 minutes that you're maximizing your body's potential to develop mitochondria. However, you need to be at your lower aerobic threshold pace. And this isn't at pace per kilometer, this is your heart rate. So you need to be around 70. They've even done tests at 50% of your max heart rate. You're still developing the same volume as if you're between 60 and 75%. So to have an average across the board, because we're older and we don't want to be pushing too hard, anywhere between 60 and 75% of your maximum heart rate, on your long runs, you will maximize the development of mitochondria. But that's not all you're developing there as well, because you're going at a lower heart rate. If you can imagine a scale where the slower your heart rate is pumping, the more oxygen you have in that blood going to your muscles. Yes? Yeah. Just logic. Right. So the slower you're going, the lower your heart rate is, the more oxygenated blood you're pumping through your working muscles on that long run. Hence, you're going to be more along the anabolic scale rather than catabolic scale. Basically, anabolic is recovery, is positive. Catabolic is negative. It's bringing you down. So every bit of training we do is catabolic. Every bit of resting and sleeping we do is anabolic. To keep it very simple. So the more oxygen you have in your blood when you're running slower, because that's how it works, you're getting more strength building. You're building strength a lot easier and better on your slow runs, because slow runs is about strength building. Like I mentioned earlier, you're doing your 5 times 1K in 3:20. To put them together to run a 16:45K, it comes from your long, slow runs, your strength work, and your building of that strength, and your longer tempos. That's where it comes. There's a lot more to it, but that is the simple answer to long runs. It takes your speed endurance. It gives you the speed endurance, your long runs.
I mean, that sounds absolutely. I do love layman's terms because I'm quite simple myself, and it makes absolute perfect sense. So, yes, there's the 5 1Ks, the reps, whatever people want to call it, but to gel it together, because I've come across many really good 10K runners in particular. I think I've had them on the show, and one Saturday Night Live where we had the good, the bad, and the ugly with their first marathons, and there was one athlete, very good 10K runner. Just thought they'd rock up and run a marathon, and it didn't go very well, shall we say, for either of them. One who just done 10Ks and one who used to do 10Ks, and the people seem to think, oh, you just rock up and go. But there's clearly building the strength, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. But I guess that would be why, with the long slowness, if someone's looking at marathon distances, and you mentioned 60 to 90 minutes or 60 to 120, I do see people go on long runs. You talk about the effort, but some people still seem to train running. They've got this in their head that they need to, especially first-time marathon runners, and I hear a lot from professional coaches say this, that the most difficult thing they have to convince a beginner who's starting their first marathon is they don't have to be able to run 26 miles before they do the actual marathon.
See, I have my own take on that. Yeah,
some people. I mean, there's some plans where it's about time on feet.
Yes.
So between
absolutely.
3 hours,
yeah.
3.5 hours, and then there's others where they say, I think the ones who get super quick, because if they were running for 3 hours or 3.5 hours, they'd probably complete 38 miles or something. So they limit it to, say, a 16-mile long run or a 20-mile long run or 21 tops. But how do you overcome that? Or you're saying there was some science there. There's people who go out there and they'll half kill themselves for 6 or 7 hours to do 20 miles, and you sort of wonder why. I mean, how do you help people, or what's the science? How do you help someone overcome that?
See, if I was to help someone train for marathon, whatever time may be, let's say 4 hours, a sub 4 hour marathon, which still compared to the sub 2, it's still not a slow run.
Exactly.
And it's a long way. So I'm more in the time on feet camp. Totally. I would put the kilometers away, put the miles away. And do most of your mileage off road. Obviously, you need to do a good percentage on road, because if you don't, you will be hammered post a marathon race.
Your joints will feel it.
Yes. So you have to do road. And with modern shoes as well, that's fine. But what off road gives you is better hills, and obviously as you run on a perfect road, well, you've got the road camber, but you're not training as many ligaments and tendons and joints, because you're not getting so much pronation, supination naturally, but off road, you're always on your toes, off your toes, on a slant, going through puddles and so you're using a lot more smaller muscle groups and tendons and ligaments, and so you're building more strength. But time on feet, so
carry on talking, Neil. I'm going to plug something in.
However, for the marathon and in any race, if it's 1500 meters, you've got to run as much as you physically can at your race pace. So if your race pace for the marathon is going to be 4 minutes 20, I've said that because that is 4 minute 20k pace, which is a bang on 7 minute mile pace. So it just makes the calculations easy for anyone listening. So if your marathon race pace is 7 minutes a mile, 4:20 a k, you need to be doing as much as you physically can at that pace. However, it doesn't have to be 16 mile, 20 mile. That can start off with just 3k, 5k, 6k 3 times a week at that pace. Which shouldn't be that difficult for you if you've got the mileage in your legs. And then as you've got the longer mileage in your legs, you can start doing 8Ks regular, 10Ks, even 16Ks at marathon race pace. Yeah, up to the point where you do, I don't see the point of doing more than a half marathon at race pace prior to your marathon race. I don't see the point. Yep.
Yeah.
When you do your long runs, stick the miles and kilometers away. Just go for the marathon. I would say you need to build up to 2 hours. Yep. And then you then need to experience your 2.5, if you're aiming for a 4-hour marathon time, then I don't see the point in you running more than 3 hours in train.
Yeah.
I don't see the point.
It's funny you should say that, Neil. My first marathon I completed in 3:46. And my longest long run, which was over the Malvern Hills, so it was 3 hours and 5 minutes. That was 20 miles. So,
and also by going off road, you may run for 2.5 hours. Like where I am here on the North Downs, and you might only cover 20k. But it doesn't matter. You've been on your feet for 2.5 hours, and you've got a lot more strength and endurance in your legs on them hills than you would have on a flat road circuit where you're trying to hit, 7-minute mile pace for 2.5 hours. Or whichever pace you want to go at. So the long run is key.
Brilliant.
And I also advise is hydration is absolute crucial for our age. And we need to be taking fluids. I've never been a big gel taker or things like this. I haven't. I tend in the hot days up to 90 minutes. I'll take 2 little 250 ml bottles on a thing with me, and one will be water, and one will be water with a bit of just normal Morrison's juice, but a cordial, just a little bit. And I might even sprinkle a bit of salt in there.
Is that just to add a bit of flavour? Okay, so the salt makes it an electrolyte.
Yes, because straight water, your body won't retain as long enough as if you have some kind of ice tonic in there. So you don't even need to buy these expensive drinks. You can just use water, a squeeze of lemon, and a dash of salt. And that will make it a little bit isotonic. However, what I will say, if you're training for a long run or a race that needs lots of drink stops, I would reverse engineer it and find out what your drink options are. If it's water, then that's what you take, and if you can do a specific bottle or have family there with your special drink, have it there, but hydration is key. I tend to only drink up to a 90-minute run. If I run 75 minutes, I won't take a drink with me. However, if it's extremely hot, I will. But hydration is key. But the long. So run,
you mentioned
is that?
You're saying the salt helps you retain the body helps retain the fluid.
Well,
if there's salt in it,
if you can make it ice tonic, and this is an old method that we used to use many years ago. And we used to either rather than buy the expensive stuff because we couldn't, because the old thing was IsoStar back in the 80s. Can you remember that?
Yeah.
And that was quite expensive. And we thought, no, we're not doing that. And then we had a chat with a top nutritionist at the time, and we just used to get a squeeze of lemon and a bit of salt, or ideally a magnesium sachet. That is good as well to stick in the water. But just to keep the cost down, you can make your own ISO drinks at home. You don't really need, but fluid. It's both. But straight water will not retain as long, as durable as if you got something, in there to help retain it. Yeah,
absolutely, makes perfect sense. So we've covered lots of the science there, whatever. So some of the key things that people might be screaming at is, come on, Neil, tell me what heart rate. I think you mentioned about the pace, 70%, 50%. Is it about heart rate? Is it about pace? What speeds? So time on feet.
Yeah, it's about both. Yeah, it's about pace on your specific marathon training runs, which can be, like I said, 3K at the beginning, and build up to 16, even 20K or half marathon. However, for your long runs, it's about heart rate. It's about keeping yourself in that 60 to 75% bracket. Yep. So, for example, on my long run, I will not go above 130 beats per minute. I won't. Yeah. And if I hit a really steep hill, I'm strong enough to just keep the pace really easy and keep around 128, 129, 130. Sometimes if it goes to 134, that's fine. But I try and get an average.
What's your max heart rate then, Neil? What's your max heart rate?
172.
172, and that's you've measured that scientifically. It's not your Garmin telling you that. It's
no.
You've
it's my Garmin. It's my Garmin with a chest strap where I've done hill reps where I've claps at the top and I'm
collapse.
Yeah. I have got the odd 174, but on average I'm about 172, I think. However, I am doing a lab test as soon as the lab's open. I'm doing a lab test hopefully this spring, and that will determine my true high pulse rate. A lot of us don't get our high pulse rates because we're not physically strong enough or we're too fatigued. So if you're fatigued, you're not going to reach your max heart rate, But back to the long run, you need to be, most people our age, they're all around the 1.6, not all, but majority are around 165, 178 max heart rate, So, the rule of thumb, if you can't find a way of testing it or just keep under 130 for your long run, and you will see. But one key thing though, this is absolute key on long running. Make sure you emphasize your form. Because you're running slowly, it gives you a chance to emphasize your form, which is also, building up strength as well. Yeah, because it's a term called empty running, empty training.
Yes, I call it dirty miles, rubbish miles, junk miles. I think.
Yes, we've all done it. And for me, empty running is when I set myself a 2-hour run, because the long run's my hardest run I do. It's hard, even that slow run. Yeah, and that's more because my energy system doesn't really cope for some reason. But my long run, if I'm running the last 15 minutes and I cannot keep form and I go into shuffling, I stop and walk home. There's no point. If you get to a point on your long run when you go from form running, slow form running, most of you that try it for the first time will not do it. It is difficult, and you'll be aching the next few days. But keep at it. If you've got months before your marathon or half marathon, you've got time to get through the aches and pains and get into it properly. But form running, and that is good technique. Yep. Keep not overspringing, but keep your technique, keep your form good. Yeah. When you start to crouch over and your core strength goes, your shoulders come in and you're shuffling, and I bet a lot of you, because I've done this as well, you shuffle so much off road that you fall over because you hit a root, because you don't lift your feet over.
You've fallen over. Oh man.
I have fallen over, and that says this isn't right. I can't be training to this fatigue where I can't lift my feet over a root. Yeah. Wow. So that is empty running. And I now stop and walk, but I find now, even when I'm tired, I can really keep good form. And what I do, and this is way back from my skiing days, on our long runs and everything else, but I still do it now, is most of my long runs, they finish on the track we call it a donkey trail, because there's a donkey in the field next to it. But it's nice, soft, firm mud with a bit of spring in it. It's slightly downhill, and it's about 800 meters long. And I often up the pace, and I stride. So the pulse goes out, the 130 pulse goes out the window there. However, because it's downhill, it doesn't go much high anyway. And I just stride out. And there is science behind this as well, where you've depleted your carb stores and you're on your fat system and everything else, and you're just trying to get home. And also your slow twitch fibers have been emptied as well, and by increasing that stride length, just striding out for that 1.5 to 2.5 minutes. Yep. It kind of fools your fast twitch fibers into a speed session. And it does
at the end of a long run.
Yeah. But then once you've done that stride to finish, I'm not talking kicking, I'm talking a stride pace when you're warming up, just a stride pace. And then just make sure as well that you don't stop dead when you finish, that you've got at least another minute or two slow jogging back home before you stop your watch, you know. But but that's a long slow run, and your long slow run is absolute key, and it kind of gels everything together. That's how I find it anyway. And everyone, I had a handful of masters last year, just before lockdown, that we got together and says, look, you know, they all want to get PBs, and it was 4 of them, and they all wanted to get PBs, and these were guys from 23-minute PBs to 18-minute PBs, and everyone, and I slowed them all down, and it was a bit of a joke within the club on club chats, you know, a nice joke that you know, Danby's saying to run slow, you know, but most of them struggled to get it, but they got it, they stuck to it, and they all PB'd several times continuously, and that was from November before lockdown right through to the and every one of them PB'd a final time in the British Masters 5K virtual race last June. They all PB'd again. They all PB'd. Yep. And
there you go. Yeah, there you go. So all you have to do, guys, because we're going to conclude now, Neil, because I know we're going to do a third one. We'll talk about tempos. I think we could become like the Anton Deck of running podcasts or whatever, you know, the Neil and Donato, Anton Deck, whatever. But there you have it, guys. Those of you who are watching, listening, you've heard it from a professional here, Neil. You know, we often hear of, and I won't talk about some things that we hear on the social media, and they list all the wonderful 10 points that you have to do. You only have to do one thing: run slowly. Yeah. So
well, not just but you know,
I know you need all the other pieces. Yeah.
You know, the bits in place, but your long run has to be slow. If you don't slow, you are being detrimental. You're missing out on so many different things like muscle development, strength development, form running development, mitochondria, and also your fat training system as well. Yep, you need to train if you're doing marathons. You need to train your fat system, which is a whole different science. Yeah,
absolutely.
But, you know,
we're going for the fourth one, aren't we? So we'll do the next one. So thank you so much for your time, Neil. It's been an absolute pleasure for you giving your time. It's fantastic having a professional like you coming on here and sharing with us.
I'm not professional. No.
Well, you know, one thing I find is that when I meet various people, it's often the most successful ones and the ones who are really doing the stuff who are the most humble. So you're very humble, Neil. So it's fantastic having you on. I think that's why so many people like listening to you, watching you on the channel. So we look forward to our next session, Neil. So, but for now, everybody watching, listening, thank you all so much. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Yeah.
Keep up. Good luck with the 5K. Whether we do a recording before you do the 5K, because it's next week, isn't it? Next weekend. So
it's a week Monday. Do it afterwards, because do you know what?
Yeah, we'll do it after, and we can talk about it. Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it though, because I don't think I'm there. But let's see. Let's see.
Do we ever look forward, as you say, the Hurt Locker? But thank you so much again, Neil. It's been an absolute joy chatting with you.
Okay.
And we'll see everybody soon. So hasta luego, as we say.
Bye-bye.